The cool thing about having something to miss is that it means it was good. It means it affected you in some way, that it brought you love into your life. And isn't that beautiful? Isn't that at the end of the day what truly matters the most? I've come to learn in my own experiences, and perhaps you can relate, is that when you miss someone, it's a very heavy feeling, depending on perhaps how much time has gone by and the depth of the relationships you had with that person, or with a certain time in your life, like a certain area in your golden years or heyday that you just can't forget about and you really miss that time and those people, or a certain person that you haven't seen in a really long time. Whatever it might be, that missing is actually just a feeling of love in a different way. Again, it comes down to separation. It's so interesting that separation causes so many different feelings, and that it still originates from the love that we have. Because if we didn't love in the first place, or have something that we loved about this person or this thing, whether it would be how it made you feel, how it made you laugh, the joy, the good things, the way it made you think, all these things. If you didn't have all of those things, there would be nothing to miss. You wouldn't have the separation from that, because you have the difference of what is so good and then what is now. And it's not to say that what you have now isn't good. There are a lot of great things in the present. But when it comes to missing specifically, we're referring to the past or what's not here today. And that in itself can be a very sticky subject. Because if it's not here today, it's not in your presence, does it matter as much or not? And it's a yes and no. It matters because those things are part of what got you to where you are. And those things may very well be in your future. But it doesn't matter much because those things are out of your purview, and sometimes they're out of your control, whether it be by time, being in the past, or a relationship with someone in which you are limited in how you can presently interact. And yes, we can say that those limitations are ones put upon by them or yourself, or maybe limitations that just were created based off how the relationship has evolved. I have many friends that I've made over the years. I'm sure you guys can relate. I hope you do. With that friends that you made that you just one day just never speak to again. For all my gamers out there, for me, myself, I'm a gamer. We made friends that we played video games with, and then little did we know that one of those days was the last day we'd ever play together. And you miss those times. But the idea is that there's something to miss. And what do you do with that? Well, it comes down to letting those good things that you got from those times stick with you, and holding on to them for better times, for better days, for the days that are ahead, the days that are present right now. The cool thing about having something to miss is that it means it was good. It means it affected you in some way, that it brought you love into your life. And isn't that beautiful? Isn't that at the end of the day what truly matters the most? And I can see that at times, especially when it's most fresh, that there's something that you had and it was so good, and it's now that it's gone, you're like, whoa, whoa, whoa. I'm not ready for it to go yet. I'm not ready for that. I know I felt that, and I guess you can ask yourself, have you? And in those moments, those ones when it's most tender, most fresh, are the ones we have a hard time accepting. And that's when we may make attempts at bringing something back in a way that's not out of love, but out of fear of it going away. And that's one thing, if I could say, of what to do when you miss something and how you let them know. For one thing you don't do is you don't let them know out of fear. You have to face that first, because that is not what you want to bring to what was in the past. That's not what you loved about it. What you loved about it was good. It was right. It meant something. Isn't that something you want to meet with good, with rights, with more positive meaning, not fear or angst? Now that can be tough to do, and I'll give you an example of how to do that, or an example that has happened in my time. One of my best friends in the world, I still love him dearly to this day. He's has a family now, and he's living his life. Beautiful. He's blessed. He's my age, and he's got a family of his own. He's married, kids, super cool. And all my days I miss him terribly. And at first I actually was super worried that man, I'm gonna lose this guy, because we just weren't talking as much. I'm like, no, I don't want to lose this friend. And I was like, hey bro, are you mad at me? Is everything okay? Did I do something wrong? And that's not, a good friend, as most people are, they say, no, it's okay. No, everything's good, everything's good. But just in that example, I'm bringing in angst instead of me being super supportive of the situation and just saying, yeah, bro, I love that this is going on for you. I'm here. Let me make the step to be present in your life in a healthy way, in a good way, in a way that's hoped for from the person you love, rather than me bringing my worry into the situation. And this brings me to another example, and another thing is about this missing, is that when you're missing something, whether it be a person or a past partner or a past occupation, something that was a big part of your identity, right? It's how do I move on now that it's gone? And I don't like that. Maybe anger starts to get in the mix. Maybe you start to get a little resentful towards the separation. I can even say for me and who I used to be as a person before Christ, it's dude, well, I used to do all these things, have these ideas of what fun was like, what good was like, what it was like to smoke or drink and getting lit, whatever it might be. And I thought that was good. And I was like, man, I'm going to miss that. Oh, I don't want that. I don't want to give that up. Only to discover that was just sin that's hold on me. I don't want to go be sexually immoral. I don't want to stop doing that. What? To find out that, yeah, that is sin. Its hold on you. And it's funny, they say sin lets you do whatever you want, and it feels totally freeing until you try to stop. And then it's not so freeing after all, or empowering after all. And there comes another point of realization of what that is. Where is that anger and that feeling of I can't let this go, that fear coming from? And it comes from dependence. We inadvertently do certain things with certain people and have certain habits that we become dependent of and on. We don't even realize it, but it's just something we start to do. And it just becomes a part of us. And then when you try to stop, it's whoa, that separation is a change. And it's where is that thing that I need? Where is that person that I need? And that can be tough. That can be tough because you will genuinely believe and feel like you really, truly need it. And you can't go on without it. And especially if it's somebody you love dearly and it's a separation from whether they passed away or for the ending of a relationship or the ending of a long friendship, it's how do I move on now? I can't. That's how we feel. That's how we can feel. And I've been there. And I'm hoping if you're anything like me, I'm not hoping, but if you're anything like me in any way, I'm sure you've been there too. So what do we do then? Well, we have to identify this dependence and ask ourselves, what is this filling for us? What is this doing for us that we need? And is there something better than that, for one? Can I get by without that, for two? And if I for a second put the hat on I don't need it, where do I go? Those are some really, really heavy questions. And they're ones that I've asked myself. And I've been fortunate in many ways, admittedly, to have had God in my life for a long time. Now, how much I let Him actually fill me and be what takes the place of my dependence and other things is a different story. I've struggled with that. I struggle with that right now. You know, one of my friends asked me, like, hey, what can I pray for you? And I said, pray for me that I find that I don't seek to fill the longing in my heart with someone other or something other than God. That I seek to love God the way that He loves me. So that way my dependence and my longing and yearning is filled by Him. And that my longing and yearning for God can replace the longing and yearning I've had elsewhere. And this is not to diminish the value of what it is that you love and what you had. Not at all. This is more so to solve the problem of dependency, knowing that certain things will not last forever. So what then can I put in my life that does last forever? Or better yet, what then can I accept in my life that will last forever? The only thing eternal is God. And He wants eternity with us, if we so choose. Now, how do we choose that? There's always been a topic and discussion I've heard in many times over my life about love languages. How is it that other people see love? And how is it that they best receive it? And what their needs are based upon that. And you know, there's physical touch and acts of service, and these are things that I know of as my love languages, so to speak. And it's like, well, dang it, I can't physically hug God, but I can let my soul be hugged by God. And God's love language is obedience, because He has set the framework for what is good. And that framework for what is good has carried on through generations and years and thousands of years into the frameworks that we use and understand now of how we define what is right and wrong, which is a beautiful thing. Now, a lot of things get twisted over the years or misunderstood or misrepresented, and my hope is that I do not do that whatsoever. I'm just trying to convey what I've come to learn and understand and let you decide. But love language is obedience. And it is obedience because He has given us the framework and gave us one through Jesus Christ of what it means to properly love. And being selfless, kind, patient, and doing the things that many won't or wouldn't do and don't do today. Now, my point on bringing this around to missing and that separation and the love and loving right and the lack of the dependence and then needing to fill it with something else and what that something else could be is that all these things are synonymous and they all stem from love. And there are times when you will love correctly and you will love good, and then paths diverge. They separate. Things go different ways. You and someone go different ways. You and that period of time, that chapter ends, the season ends. And you know, I heard something, this phrase is that people are in your life for a season, for a reason, or forever. And there are some people in your life you want to be there forever, right? And there are some people in your life that you want to be there forever, but they are not. And there are some people in your life that you get them for a certain season and it fulfilled you. And there are some people in your life you got them for a certain season and it felt like it wasn't enough. And I guess those two are very similar, but the thing is, you know what God wants? He wants to be in that relationship with us forever. Not just for a temporary season or a reason in a day or in a month or in a year in which you feel like getting closer to God, and maybe you did, but then somewhere along the path you went a different way again. And somewhere along the path you feel like you know you love God, you believe in God, but you're not loving Him in His love language. And the difference between us and how we love one another is sometimes someone we love, and when we have our harsh seasons and we don't love them right, in those times they decide that it's time to go. Your love is no longer being conveyed right, and for them it is hurting them and they gotta go. You know, what's interesting is that even when our love is hurting God, He never leaves. He's always there. He's always there, ready to embrace us, embracing us in the moments when we are sinful and when we are doing wrong and hurting ourselves, hurting Him, and hurting others. God misses us, but He never gives up on us. And because of that, in my life, I've had a very hard time giving up on others. I don't really know how even now. I still love the people that I've spent the most small amount of time with, but I got a connection with. And if I saw them again, that connection would spark and reinvigorate. Unfortunately, what I experience in my life is when I approach it with that love and ready to reconnect, it's not met the same way. And sadly, it's more often than not. But that's okay. I understand that that's life, and truly we only have so much space, right? For so many people in our lives, to give them so much time, even if we want to give them more time and give others more space in our lives. So isn't it beautiful that despite that to be true, even though we're doing our best, and it's not your fault, it's not the fault of others, it's just, we're limited in that sense. We love abundantly and boundlessly because the love of God has been placed in us, but we are limited to many degrees in this life. But in this life, God's love is not. And that love is ready for you at any moment in time, right this second. It is ready for you. It wants you. So will you accept it? If anything I've said makes sense, if anything connects from either a logical or an emotional point of view, is it worth considering? If we had some kind of authentic similarity and it worked for me, even if it's a 1% chance, isn't it worth that 1% for the chance at eternal love? Love that never ends, never fades, always fulfills? Isn't the chance worth it? And what's the cost of not? If there was a way to love everyone you know in the way you knew they could receive, because we've learned that love is selfless. It's about them. It's about that person. If you knew that you could learn to love them better every which way because there was a being, an ever-loving, lasting God that came and was that example so we could do and live that same thing for others, and all He asks is that we let Him work on our hearts so we could do that, don't you think that's worth it? And yes, that's a reason, but don't you think that if that's true and how profound that is, that there's more? Isn't that just even if you don't believe it, isn't that a possibility just based off the words that I've said? Well, if that's the case, if you do think that, there's a book, and now we have a community, and there's many out there like you. I'm one of those people still trying to figure it out, but I know what I know is true. And I know what I've lived, and that's why I'm sharing it with you. So, as we wrap up this video, let me read you what I put together. This one's a bit longer, and given the heaviness of this subject, this is a little different. So I'd like to ask you to sit with me as we speak to God together. All my longings lie open before you, Lord. My sighing and my pain is not hidden from you. It is all seen by your eyes, for at every moment you feel my heart. So I'll trust when you say that a longing that is one day made complete is sweet to my soul, but that fools detest turning from evil, and for them, sweetness will never come. For there is a balance to all things, and we are told to avoid all extremes. Oh, why then? Why is that you say this, O Lord? Is not our love deep and a glimpse of yours? Have you not placed love and eternity within us? Yes, these things are true. But you are He who is with us forever, who opens His hands and satisfies the desires of every living thing. You make known to me the path of life. You fill me with joy in your presence, with eternal pleasures at your right hand. Your grace is sufficient for me, for your power is made perfect in my weakness. Therefore, I will brag all the more gladly about my weaknesses, so that your power may rest in me. And I will remember these words that you have said to a prophet long before me, O God. Do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you. I will help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. You will soar on wings like eagles. You will run and not grow weary, and you will walk and not faint. So then may you, the God of hope and fulfilled promises, fill us with all joy and peace as we trust in you, so that we may overflow with hope by the power of the Holy Spirit. Amen. So as always, guys, I appreciate you watching this video, and if anything if we've shared any kind of true and authentic similarity with one another, I invite you to click the link in the description below to join our community, We Behold the Man. It's a place for us to connect, for us to learn, for us to be there for one another. And if there's no one there with you in the present, in the flesh, and you want to know what it's like to let God in your heart and how you can do that better, let us be there with you. Let us sit with you through this technology that can be made use for good and not just the evil we see it used for all the time. So if that's something that sounds good to you, please click the link in the description below. I'd appreciate a like and subscribe too, but what matters more to me is you, and that this video did something for your heart. So I love you guys. I'll see you next time for episode 5.